All right, what's up, everybody? It's your favorite villain here, and today I have a buddy of mine reached out to me recently about this collab, Roaring Thunder Pursuit. You can go ahead and say what's up.
Hey, what it is, people? RTP here, Roaring Thunder Pursuit, doing a collab with Sir Splash. Been wanting to make a Harry Potter video for a while now, and I think this would be a good way for me to re-enter the YouTube scene. So, yeah, let's get this video going.
All right, so video premise is simple. We're examining the Harry Potter verse, and we came up with the top 10 magic users in the verse in terms of who would win in a fight. With that being said, spoilers if you haven't looked at the series, but I don't know why you would watch this anyways. But number 10, kicking off number 10, Sirius Black. I'm going to go ahead and let my buddy Roaring talk about why he deserved this spot.
Well, the thing is with Sirius Black, he broke out of Azkaban. Even though it took him 12 years, it was made pretty clear that he was depressed over the death of James Potter and his wife because he was portrayed by Peter Pettigrew, that rat that Ron was always carrying around. So he could have broke out at any time. This is impressive because Azkaban is a high security prison for like extremely dangerous wizards, and it's located in the middle of a raging ocean, and it's surrounded by hundreds, if not thousands, of Dementors. Now, these Dementors, just with their raw presence, can like stop entire trains filled with so many people that it fills up the majority of Hogwarts. So it was calc to be around small building level, if not max building level, like high end building level. So he also was able to go toe to toe against Professor Lupin. Now, Lupin was able to cauterize one of these Dementors that came at Harry, and for him to be able to go toe to toe with Lupin in his werewolf form shows that he's incredibly strong. And on top of that, he was able to defeat Lucius Malfoy, Draco Malfoy's dad, alongside Harry while they were going crazy against all these Death Eaters and stuff. And he was like fondling most of them until he was cheap shotted by Bellatrix. But that's another story. So yeah, I personally believe he deserves top 10, especially with the whole Lupin situation, because he was more focused on protecting Harry and Ron and Hermione from being eaten by this thing. And on top of that, it was his best friend. He was just trying to restrain him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Sirius, and the only thing I'd really add is he had to have been capable enough as a magic user he was considered like one of the most dangerous wizards. So obviously like you can't just go off that blindly. Something has to be there in order to validate that claim. So clearly
Yeah.
he's demonstrated, and they did show flashbacks that him and his friends were all pretty, like always pretty talented. So, um, yeah, number 9. Might as well start with the controversy early. Harry Potter himself. Now,
Oh God.
yeah, people can freak out all they want. I personally was the one that advocated for him to be this low. So if y'all are mad, you can be mad at me. But
I
going over
tried
the
to argue for him to have a higher spot, but it doesn't work.
yeah, and you guys will see why. It's not actually a slight to Harry. It's just there are some pretty powerful wizards out there. Um, what is good
Yeah,
about Harry
mass
Potter?
sleeping on him.
Yeah, and what got him here is he's able to take down Death Eaters. He's pretty damn durable. I mean, even when he was a little kid, he got his arm pierced by a massive poisonous basilisk and kept fighting. He has some spells that can maim and incapacitate people post Half Blood Prince arc. And he has very good reaction time, even when he was younger, even Goblet of Fire era. You know, he was out here dodging Death Eaters pretty consistently. Why he isn't higher, in my opinion, he just gets lucky a lot or has plot armor. He doesn't have the best arsenal, although I will say after Half Blood Prince it improved, but he isn't bringing anything particularly wild to the fight, and he isn't as crafty as people try to give him credit for. Voldemort would have kicked his ass without plot armor, like one
Yeah,
shot.
it would have been on site. It would have been on site. The thing is, when Harry was creating Dumbledore's army, I'm pretty sure most people remember this who actually watched the shows or the movies. Harry himself was like stopping the wank from like the Gryffindor crew, and he was like, "Guys, I know I'm this famous, infamous person, and everybody keeps hyping me up, but dude, all of my accomplishments were just based on teamwork, and Dumbledore or just me lucky." He said that himself, so I don't see how anybody could argue that he would be higher on the list, especially considering the fact that some people might want to say that he like overpowered Voldemort, which it's that's true, but like they had to depower him by destroying all six Horcruxes,
Yeah,
and
they're
then the final
destroying
one
his
with
soul.
yeah, they had to like pretty much run around and like destroy his soul to like even have a chance against the guy, and then he went up against Voldemort when he had six Horcruxes destroyed, and then he barely won, but then Longbottom came in with the win when he sliced up Nagini with the Gryffindor sword, and then that's when Harry like edged it out. But yeah, if it wasn't for plot, Harry'd be like, oh my god, it wouldn't have been a fight.
Yeah, who's number 8 though? Who's above Harry?
Number 8 would be shit. Newt Newt from Final Fantastic Beasts. Yo, I don't give a damn what anyone says. That little like platypus thing that they call a niffler, dude, I need one, man.
Oh
That's
yeah,
crazy.
amazing thieves.
Yeah. So Newt is actually a very capable fighter. He's unorthodox. He was able to tank hits from Grindelwald, who was like launching lightning bolts at him. That could be ranging 8 times hotter than the surface of the sun, because the surface of the sun is 24,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and then lightning is 54,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Newt also dodged these lightning bolts, like weaving in and out in the train station against Grindelwald, and he was able to tank these lightning bolts. His briefcase contains a whole different variety of crazy magical creatures that he can utilize in combat, or if he's stuck in a pinch and he needs to like break out, he can just like open up his briefcase and then there you go. And on top of that, he carries some of these creatures with him, like that little leaf thing. Yeah, he carries some of these creatures with him. Um, Another creature he carries around, I don't know what it's called. It's like this fox rubbery falcon thing where he just throws it and it's like super sticky and it turns into a ball. That's how he was able to restrain Grindelwald when he caught him off guard when Grindelwald went up against the president and the high elite wizard. So he's very very skillful fighter. It'd be really difficult to fight somebody that unpredictable.
Yeah, and the reason he wasn't higher for us was he's not actually a duelist. He's extremely dangerous. Like
Yeah,
if Newt focused on dueling, he would be so much higher just with all the
yeah,
weapons he
definitely.
has. Um, Number 7, one of the most gangster characters in all of the verse is Bellatrix Lestrange. Most people hate her, but you hate her for the right reasons because she's out here shooting everybody. She's an
Oh yeah,
absolute savage. She has one of the most impressive kill counts to her name in the series. Not only that, she's killed legitimate wizards before, not just fodder. One thing that makes her incredibly dangerous is she spams unforgivable curses. She's a killing curse expert. She's the one that killed Sirius Black. Now, she did take him by surprise, but she'll fire off those kind of attacks at any point. She even roasted Harry because he wasn't gangster enough to kill her on sight. So she's about that life.
oh
Why
yeah,
she isn't higher? Because she got dunked on by Ron's mom. I mean, like
yeah. Her ego gets to her, man. She could like easily. If she
yeah,
just focused and quit playing around, she'd be much higher on the list.
yeah, for sure.
Um, I guess for number 6, we got Professor McGonagall. Now, in her prime, she was incredibly powerful, one of the most powerful wizards in Hogwarts. Um, but if we're going to talk about the Harry Potter series, she was able to go toe to toe with Severus, and in this exchange, she was able to like dick down on 2 Death Eaters. On top of that, they were standing on either side of Severus, and like Snape had to retreat. So she actually oppressed them. She was also powerful enough to activate the spell throughout Hogwarts to send out this massive, like, soldier stone army. She has different kinds of spells. such as transfiguration, where she's able to like transfigurate. According to the book, she was able to transfigurate a snake into smoke and then instantly turn the smoke into like a barrage of daggers that she can launch at you. She has like fire blasts and stuff. In the books, it talks about how like she can tank 4 stun spells to the heart and like still be standing. These stun spells are high class, like elite spells. They're used to like put people like Bellatrix like in jail. They're used to incapacitate like criminals, and she could tank like 4 of them without even going down. She could still keep on moving. Pretty powerful. Intelligence wise, not she hasn't really shown too much of her intelligence. I mean, she is intelligent, but in comparison to like Severus and Dumbledore, she doesn't have that many showing.
Yeah, she's just one of those characters. Most of her stuff comes off lore, just people saying like, "Yo, if you really like pissed her off, you're in serious trouble." But anyways, number 5. This might be controversial too, but we can explain it pretty comfortably. Credence. Now he's from the new Fantastic Beasts series. He's literally this high up for his raw attack potency. You can make a decent case that power wise, Credence can throw down with anybody on the list. He was
Yeah.
even considered an asset by Grindelwald, who Grindelwald himself can. We'll talk about his AP later, but he can blow up cities basically. And we know that Credence, while heavily suppressed, blew up a mountainside with not even his own wand. It was a foreign wand, and in the Harry Potter verse, that severely weakens your power because it's not yours. It's not a natural use of magic. Now,
Yeah,
why
ex
he?
Voldemort
Yeah.
dude was triggered.
Now, why he isn't higher is because he's the definition of a head case. He's never confident. He's almost never in the right frame of mind. He's fluctuates too much, and the people above him would take advantage of that, as evidenced by who number 4 is.
Yeah. Another thing to touch up on about Credence, there's this thing in Fantastic Beasts called the Obscurial. Now, the Obscurial is this dark mass that builds up over time within like a wizard or a witch that constantly suppresses like negative energy like over a long period of time. So with Credence, this negative like energy just compressed inside of his body over time, and then they also consider it like a parasite. So essentially what happened was it grew inside of Credence and like manipulated him to the cellular, if not to the molecular scale, to the point where he now has like matter manipulation. He can expand his body into this dark mass which can shred you up or can like engulf you. He can expand his body like larger than buildings. He can be he can distribute his body to even be as small as like pebbles. Like he can just manipulate his body into this massive dark mass and just like engulf everything that's around him.
Yeah, he's a beast, but like we said, um, it's all raw power, and that's just not enough when it comes to the top tiers. So who we got at number 4?
Severus Snape is at number 4 because I mean a lot of people would probably try to argue that if Credence is more powerful, he'd beat Severus, but I don't think that's the case because he's weak mentally, and this is where Snape has like the definite advantage, not only against Credence but against like most people in the verse. His intelligence is on par, relativistic to Dumbledore himself. They were able to pre-plan how to defeat Voldemort, even planning before Dumbledore's death and before Harry's death. So being able to work around all this precognition or prerequisites of the storyline is impressive. He also trained Harry to mentally protect himself from mental attacks, all kinds of mental attacks, people getting into your memory or people controlling you like a mindless slave. Harry was able to turn the tide and get into Snape's mind, and then Snape just like kicked him out, like quite easily. On top of that, including the fact that since Harry himself is a Horcrux, he does get a power amp for having a piece of Voldemort's soul inside of him. Because when he was young, he was able to make like glass disappear and talk to snakes and like do other nonverbal spells. So being able to casually kick Harry out is pretty impressive. So that means he could do a lot more. On top of that, Voldemort himself considered Snape to be one of his best assets, and it was actually noted by Voldemort that it was a shame that he had to kill him because he needed the Elder Wand. So the fact that Snape got a compliment and like nobody else didn't just means that he scales above Dementors, Death Eaters, most of the professors, and most of the like higher Death Eaters like Lucius Malfoy and like Bellatrix. Like he's up there. He's like Voldemort's right hand guy.
Yeah, and like if you think about it this way, Harry at his peak, or around his peak at least, was Half Blood Prince era arc, and when he ran up on Snape with the most killing intent we've seen Harry ever had, like literally Harry was trying to viciously tear him apart with that one cell. It's like Sanctum Sumpha or something like that. Snape embarrassed him. And he was like, dude, how are you going to come for the goat? I invented that. Like Snape's just on a different level mentally than, and he never gets flustered. The one time we saw it was with Harry with the mental training, but that's it.
Yeah. But we ain't sleeping on Harry too much though, because Harry, when he was younger, he was able to use his Expecto Patronum to knock off like how many do you think, like how many Dementors were in that forest?
50 to 100 is a safe estimate.
Yeah, and the Expecto Patronum was like one of Snape's spells, because I remember in one scene where Dumbledore and Snape were talking, Snape sent out this deer to like follow Harry wherever he went. It was in Snape's memory before Snape died, and Harry took it to the this little bucket of water to see his memory. So yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that's enough about Snape. Number 3, the guy above him, we have Grindelwald. Grindelwald was really about that life. He's the main bad guy from Fantastic Beasts, and in lore prior to that, in Harry Potter, he was considered the original villain in the wizarding world. Um, Multiple wizards can't control him or take him in, even when he's restrained. He has City Plus AP for certain, like he was going to casually wipe out all of London with a spell. And in Harry Potter lore, he gave Dumbledore, in his youth, what is considered the best of all time, and the best duel of all time. And what's crazy, they fought all day, so him and Dumbledore's stamina is ridiculous. But
Yeah.
the wizarding community said even a Dumbledore Voldemort fight wouldn't amount to what that was, which is absurd. The only reason he's not higher is just the other two outscale him.
Yeah, I think I would like to touch up on Grindelwald's speed. He was able to like deflect like these when the president and the high elite wizards pulled up on Grindelwald, he was able to deflect multiple lightning level attacks at point blank range. So he's incredibly fast. I would like to point that out. He is incredibly fast.
Oh yeah, well above lightning.
Yeah. So
Who
coming
we
in
got?
at number
Yeah, go ahead.
all right. Coming in at number 2, we have Voldemort. The thing is, with Voldemort being above Grindelwald, I can see like a lot of people debating this, but the thing is, the story just kind of shows that when it comes to Grindelwald, nobody really had an issue like teaming up and like going after him and arresting him. To whereas Voldemort, everyone was kind of like in denial when Harry was talking about that he was back, to the point where like they just got all over the news and kind of mocked his title instead of saying the boy who lived, the boy who lies. So everybody is more afraid of Voldemort. Voldemort was able to fend off um, old Dumbledore, and old Dumbledore was the aggressor in that battle because Voldemort pulled up on Harry and Dumbledore stepped in to protect Harry. And on top of that, during that battle, if you notice, Dumbledore really wasn't fully invested into the fight because he kept pushing Harry back. Like Harry was just in the way. and he was trying to protect him and fight Voldemort off at the same time. Voldemort, even after that, got a massive power boost. He was able to stalemate with Harry and black out an entire city. He got the Elder Wand. Now, even though the Elder Wand wasn't fully compatible with him, it was still more powerful than the previous wands he was using. So,
Yeah, I mean, Voldemort obviously was a monster, had one of the best build-ups in book history as far as a villain, just with how intimidating he was. It's just number one just has the edge on him, and obviously, I guess I'll go right into it. Albus Dumbledore. He's considered widely to be the GOAT of the verse, both in his verse and outside of his verse. Straight up beat Grindelwald in the lore. Of course, we haven't seen what's going to happen in the movies, but in the books retelling of the events, he won. Very likely Dumbledore didn't go all out against Grindelwald because in the book, well, J.K. Rowling actually said they had a relationship. In the movie, they were best friends and had a blood oath, but he was obviously had that mental barrier, but he still won.
yeah.
And you could make a decent case for Grindelwald beating Voldemort. Like, that is contentious. And he beat that Grindelwald. Old Albus also pressed Voldemort with the Elder Wand, and despite having to be on defense, like, was pushing him back. The thing with Dumbledore is I just think he has a little bit of a mental edge over Voldemort. Voldemort always seems to be the one more wary of Dumbledore than the other way around.
Yeah, he's like emotionally invested too much.
Yeah, he just, lives in his head rent free. Dumbledore was his superior, never did the he who must not be named deal. Doesn't care if Voldemort appears because he would just beat his ass. So but definitely that top three, it's not a blowout for anyone. But anyways, we're gonna take these next couple minutes for Roaring to talk about his return. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you.
Yeah, I'll leave a comment in the comment section. You guys can click my profile, see my channel. There's not going to be any videos as of right now, but later on, I am planning on posting future videos. I am going to be consistent. I really do want to come back. There's a lot more topics I want to talk about, and there's a lot more collabs that I want to do with other people, including your boy, Sir Splash. With all that being said, just keep a lookout for that. So, yeah.
Yeah, anyways, it's been your favorite villain with Roaring Thunder, and we will see y'all later. Peace.